Right now, while most Americans are going through their daily routine, paying bills, checking their balance, wondering why it never seems to be enough, a specific group of people are quietly doing something completely different with their money. They are not making more than everyone else. They are not waiting for a lucky break. They are operating inside a system, a specific, proven, step-by-step system that the majority of the population has never been formally shown how to use. And the results they are getting are extraordinary. Wealth that compounds automatically, income that arrives whether they work or not, financial security that does not depend on a single employer or a single paycheck. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that system looks like, how it works, and how you can plug yourself into it starting right now. Welcome to Wealth Analysis Network, the channel dedicated to breaking down the real American financial system in plain, honest language so that every single person watching has access to the knowledge that actually builds wealth. If you are new here, subscribe right now because every single week we give you the deep, researched, no-nonsense financial analysis that most channels are either too uninformed or too commercially motivated to share. Today, we are pulling back the curtain completely on how Americans are secretly building wealth in 2026, the system they do not explain in schools, the strategies that never make it into mainstream financial advice, and the specific moves that separate the people who are getting ahead from the people who are standing still. Let's get into every single piece of this right now. The first thing you need to understand about the system is that it begins not with investing or income generation, but with something far more fundamental: awareness of where your money actually goes before you even try to grow it. The Americans who are quietly building wealth in 2026 are obsessive trackers, not in a complicated, time-consuming way, but they know with precision where every dollar of their income is being directed each month. Research consistently shows that the average American household is leaking significant amounts of money every single month through forgotten subscriptions, unused memberships, inflated insurance premiums they have never shopped around for, and impulse spending triggered by emotional states rather than genuine need. The wealthy do not tolerate financial leakage. They treat every dollar that leaves their account as a decision, not a habit, not an accident, not something that just happens. The first step of the system is a complete financial audit every single month. 30 minutes with your bank statements. Every outgoing dollar categorized. Every subscription confirmed as something you actively use and value. This single habit, practiced consistently, typically reveals $100 to $300 per month that can be immediately redirected toward wealth building without any change in income and without any sacrifice that meaningfully impacts quality of life. The second piece of the system is what financially sophisticated Americans call the pay yourself first principle. And it is so simple that most people dismiss it without understanding how powerful it actually is. The standard American approach to saving is to earn money, pay all expenses, spend what feels reasonable, and then save whatever happens to be left at the end of the month. There is almost never anything left. The system that quietly wealthy Americans use reverses this completely. The moment income arrives, the same day through automatic transfer, a predetermined amount moves directly into a savings or investment account before the rest of the money is available to spend. The account is separate, the transfer is automatic. The amount never changes based on how the month is feeling. What you never see in your spending account, you never miss and never spend. And what automatically transfers into your wealth-building accounts compounds month after month without requiring willpower or motivation or perfect discipline. Research from financial experts consistently shows that the single most effective predictor of whether someone builds wealth is whether they automate their savings and investments. Not how much they earn, not how smart they are with money. Whether the transfer happens automatically, the automation is the system. The third component is high-yield savings repositioning, and this is one of the most immediately impactful and most overlooked moves in the entire wealth-building playbook. The majority of American households keep their emergency savings and short-term cash in traditional bank savings accounts that are earning almost nothing in interest. In 2026, the national average interest rate at traditional banks is a fraction of 1%. Online high-yield savings accounts at digital banks are paying between 4 and nearly 5% annual percentage yield. the mathematical difference is not small. $10,000 in a traditional savings account earns approximately $1 per year. $10,000 in a high-yield savings account at 4% earns $400 per year for doing absolutely nothing differently except choosing a different account. The money is just as safe. It is FDIC insured in exactly the same way. It is just as accessible. The only difference is the rate, and that rate difference applied to the full amount of cash you keep in savings represents real passive income that most Americans are simply giving away every year to a bank that is paying you almost nothing while lending your money out at significantly higher rates. Moving your savings takes approximately 15 minutes. The ongoing benefit is permanent. The fourth piece of the system is the 401k employer match maximization strategy. And this is the closest thing to genuinely free money that exists in the entire American financial landscape. The majority of American employers who offer a 401k plan also offer to match employee contributions up to a certain percentage of salary, typically providing 50 cents of employer money for every dollar the employee contributes, up to around 6% of their salary. This is a guaranteed 50% return on your contribution before a single investment gain occurs. It is the highest guaranteed return available to any working American, and yet studies consistently show that millions of American workers are contributing below their employer match threshold, leaving thousands of dollars of free employer money uncaptured every single year. The wealthy Americans who are quietly building wealth are not doing anything complicated here. They are simply making sure that every available dollar of employer match is captured. They treat the match threshold as the absolute minimum contribution, not the target. And every dollar of employer match captured is a dollar that immediately starts compounding in a tax-advantaged account on their behalf. The fifth component of the system is what financial researchers describe as the ownership shift. And this is the most fundamental and most transformational piece of how quietly wealthy Americans think differently about building financial security. The standard financial path that most Americans follow is employment-based. You earn a salary. You budget from that salary. You hope that the salary grows enough over time to provide security. The system that wealthy Americans use is ownership-based. They are constantly building ownership of assets that generate income independently of their labor. Dividend-paying index funds that distribute income every quarter. Real estate investment trusts that pay regular distributions from commercial property income. Side businesses that generate revenue even when the owner is not actively working them. Digital products that sell automatically once created. The shift from earning all income through active labor to earning a growing portion of income through owned assets is not instantaneous. It takes time. It requires consistent reinvestment. But the Americans who started building this ownership layer 5 or 10 years ago are now experiencing something that most employed Americans have never felt. Income that arrives in their account whether they showed up to work that day or not. And that experience changes everything about how financial security feels. The sixth and final piece of the system is the one that makes all the others compound into something exponential. And that is the reinvestment discipline. Every single dollar earned from a side income stream, every dividend payment received, every employer match captured, every dollar recovered from the financial audit, in the system that quietly wealthy Americans use, none of that money goes toward lifestyle upgrades. All of it goes back into the system, back into index funds, back into the high-yield savings account building the emergency buffer, back into paying down high-interest debt that is working against the compounding effect. This is called zero lifestyle creep, the commitment to keeping your living expenses stable as your income grows and directing every dollar of increased income into wealth-building assets rather than increased consumption. It sounds simple. It is simple, but it is also the habit that most Americans find the hardest to maintain because the cultural pressure to upgrade your lifestyle as your income grows is constant and relentless. The quietly wealthy Americans resist that pressure. They live well. They enjoy their lives. But they refuse to let their lifestyle costs expand at the same rate as their income. And that gap between what they earn and what they spend is the engine that drives everything. So there you have it, The system they do not explain. The financial audit that stops the leaks. The pay-yourself-first automation that removes willpower from the equation. The high-yield savings repositioning that turns idle cash into passive income. The 401k employer match maximization that captures free money most Americans walk away from. The ownership shift from labor income to asset income. And the reinvestment discipline that keeps every new dollar going back into the system instead of into lifestyle consumption. These are not complicated strategies. They are not accessible only to the wealthy or the privileged. They are available to every American who understands how they work and makes the decision to apply them consistently. The system has always existed. It just was never explained to most people who needed it most. If this breakdown gave you a clear picture of something you can actually start applying this week, please give this video a like and share it with someone in your life who is ready to build something real. Subscribe to Wealth Analysis Network if you are not already with us, because every single week we bring you the deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis that actually changes how people think about and manage their money. Drop a comment below and tell me, which piece of the system are you going to implement first? I read every single one. See you in the next video.